Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and what if I told you the Internet Archive? Yeah, they got hacked a third time, ladies and gentlemen. Now, 2 weeks ago, I made a video where I talked about the Internet Archive and how they got hacked. Not just once, but 2 times, okay? One of them turning down the entire website for access as I made that video, and then another hack that happened, I believe, shortly before, where literally like 30 plus million people's information got leaked, okay? Mine as well, all right? If you had an Internet Archive account, you probably got your information leaked. So to give you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, since then, the Internet Archive was taken down, and you probably saw this screen right here, right? Where, again, it was taken down, and then they actually did end up bringing back parts of the Internet Archive. So if you go to the Internet Archive as of right now, like you go to the Wayback Machine, you can basically click onto it and you can see that it does actually work. In fact, for the last couple of videos, I was actually using the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine feature. But if you look very carefully at the bottom row, you'll probably notice that the saving functionality is unavailable. That's because as of right now, their website is still actually hacked, okay? There are still hackers worming around inside the Internet Archive trying to cause chaos and sow some real discord. So there's actual functionality that isn't available. Recently, I was trying to play through one game, okay, on my computer, Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. And I didn't know it until like literally a couple days ago that there were some bonus missions for the PC. So I decided to go to the PC Gaming Wiki. I was like, oh, sweet, let me download these bonus missions. I click onto the bonus missions. Holy shit, it led to the Internet Archive. Meaning this content isn't being preserved right now. And I'm sure I could find this on some other, website on the internet, maybe. But it is definitely a sign to show that, once you lose your preservation, once you lose history, and if it's gone forever. Now, the Internet Archive, ladies and gentlemen, is frankly massive. To give you an idea about it, according to the Internet Archive, they store something about 99 petabytes of data. So some of you guys might be like, Muta, what the fuck is a petabyte? A petabyte, at least 99 of them, equates to 99,000 terabytes, all right? Now, I don't know anybody who has that much storage space on their system. I myself, if I go to my system monitor real quick, probably only have 2.7 terabytes of space, okay? So I don't know how much you have, but there isn't somebody out there or an organization that can mirror or download the archive. We literally only have one digital library. And right now, it's in fucking shambles. So when we go back to the original hack on the Internet Archive, the first few people that took advantage of talking about this was an organization known as SN Black Meta. Now, SN Black Meta is this organization that links themselves to this one Russian area, which translates to Staraya Russa. Now, of course, if you look carefully, the closest area to them is like St. Petersburg. It's a Russian-located organization, and of course, their motivation of the attack was literally one where they wanted to target it because of the Israeli-Palestinian situation and the fact that they believed the Internet Archive was connected directly to the United States government, from my understanding. Now, obviously, that's not true. The Internet Archive is a fucking independent organization, and these guys kind of look like actual fools. But I think, personally, and again, this is speculation, that maybe there's more of a government actor involved. But we'll get to that one in a bit. So according to the guys over at the Internet Archive, what they said was, yeah, we had an attack on October 13th, we had an attack on October 17th, and literally October 21st, they actually had the third attack, ladies and gentlemen. So what was the third attack? Well, apparently the third attack ended up being that their Zendesk got hit. Their support system got hit. So literally, like a couple days ago, a few people who ended up getting an email from the Internet Archive, they were like, whoa, why did I get this response? So for any site, they use a software. A lot of organizations use a software known as Zendesk, which again is designed to be like a customer service desk, a help desk. So, people who come to your site, if they find an issue, they can go and file a support ticket and say, hey, maybe I can't make an account. Maybe this functionality of your website isn't working. It's a support structure, right? And obviously with any support site, there's probably going to be personal information from people filling out that support and so on and so forth. So for a lot of people who were just sitting there, they ended up getting some responses to tickets they put up, maybe a day ago, months ago, years ago even. So at this moment in time, the hacker sent out a message. They said, it's dispiriting to see that even after being made aware of the breach 2 weeks ago, IA has still not done the due diligence of rotating many of the API keys that were exposed in their GitLab secrets. As demonstrated by this message, this includes a Zendesk token with permissions to access over 800,000 support tickets sent to info@archive.org since 2018. So whether you are trying to ask a general question or requesting the removal of your site from the Wayback Machine, your data is now in the hands of some random guy. If not me, it'd be someone else. Here's hoping that they'll get their shit together now. So this is one of those examples, and from what I believe is not so much a nefarious hacker, but somebody that you would classify as maybe like a white hat hacker, at the best a gray hat person, somebody that, actually does, computer intrusion, network intrusion, but they're not out there to be completely malicious. Like, he's basically making an example and telling you things are still messed up, your personal information is still not safe, and hopefully this organization gets their stuff together. Now, the Internet Archive is not like a government agency. It's not a branch of the US government, so they don't really get those permissions afforded to them cybersecurity-wise. It really is just a nonprofit organization. So with the issues that they're going through right now, the constant hacks, it is definitely one where people are considerably worried about like what the future holds for this organization, like what the fuck could happen. Now, when you look at the original hack for the situation too, the way that they ended up actually confirming it was one user, Troy Hunt, one individual who runs Have I Been Pwned. Great site, by the way, if you want to check out have you actually had your stuff in part of a data breach, which I would wager that 95% of the people watching this video have had their information in part of some data breach somewhere. Truly, it's a scary world out there. Then what they did was, Troy had received a portion of this data set where he basically dug up one individual that he knew, Scott Helm, and basically said, hey, is this your password? Is this your hashes? And Scott was like, oh yeah, it is, which is how you confirm that a leak is valid, okay? You got to be able to confirm that the data you've been sent actually has some validity to it, which unfortunately in the case of the Internet Archive, yeah, it seems like actual information was breached. My information's breached, everyone's information, whoever was on that site, is breached. So again, to go back to the actual people running the hack. So when the Internet Archive was taken down by SN Black Meadow and they took clear, obvious mention of it, and they brought up their political implications, obviously, let's just get one thing right. A DDoS attack is not, in my opinion, some crazy hack. What they effectively did was they flooded the Internet Archive servers with so many requests that they basically took the site down. So realistically, the actual hack were the people stealing the actual data, the big giant 6 gigabyte file that contained 30 million plus records. The people that were actually running the fucking DDoS attack are most definitely script kiddies who clearly, to run a DDoS attack, it's so simple these days that you can just download the software pretty much off the internet within 5 minutes and fire it off against your target. In fact, there's plenty, and I've talked about this before, plenty of black market or gray market pen testing services where they will just do DDoS attacks for you. And the thing about DDoS attacks is if these attacks are happening in the country of Russia, as SN Black Meta claims to be located in, then you get to this issue where literally the actual aim of law enforcement just cracks right there. Once you're behind the Russian Federation or China or any of these big countries, they're not going to extradite somebody and they're not going to get involved dealing with DDoS attacks, okay? There's really not much you can do as a company other than finding ways to mitigate the DDoS attacks that are being hit towards you, right? Which, again, could be very simple or it can be very difficult depending on the type of requests and how they're being sent, right? So again, these are things you have to kind of worry about. These are things that if you were running these organizations, you would have to worry about. But the people that are DDoSing the Internet Archive, yeah, not really crazy impressive stuff. So again, it makes people kind of speculate and wonder who the hell is actually behind it. Now, last time I covered it, I basically gave the claim to SN Black Meta because ultimately they're the ones that were taking claim of it. And I really didn't want to jump into actual speculation and conspiracy theory. But that's what I'm going to do right now. So for anybody that doesn't know, the Internet Archive has been facing an actual lawsuit situation that has been insane. They have been losing their appeals when it comes to massive book companies. And unfortunately, because the Internet Archive actually broke the rules, they violated copyright and basically facilitated piracy, they're losing some of these cases. Now, people have said maybe it's these big corporate companies that are launching these attacks against the Internet Archive, but I would say that if you're engaged in a lawsuit with somebody, it's probably unlikely that you're going to also commit crimes, which ultimately can be traced back, depending on how well they were performed or how, thoughtlessly they were done back to these companies. I don't think any big company is going to be risking their legal cases or be party to a crime if they're already on the winning side legally against the Internet Archive. Take the morality and ethics out of it. No, I really do think that this kind of an attack is actually more state-sponsored than one would imagine. So honestly, the Internet Archive is probably the last bastion of keeping up information that a lot of people just don't want. There's a lot of tweets, there's a lot of videos that exist that ultimately, if you were to even bring it to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, there is probably a whole fuck ton of war crimes that have actually been recorded, maybe through Twitter posts, X posts, maybe through actual videos that have been saved, that maybe the Israeli government doesn't want the world to see, right? Actual war crimes committed by the IDF. And honest to God, if that is the case, and you've got a country like Israel who's been launching attacks against them, maybe in the hopes of trying to remove information, that might be a logical conspiracy. Just as if a conspiracy involving the Russian government could make sense, if they have war crimes that they've committed in the, country of Ukraine, maybe that could be something they want to remove. Maybe it could be the American government removing stuff. It literally could be any government or agency that wants stuff removed. Now, obviously, they could have probably filed copyright claims. They could have found legal avenues. But, taking down a service like this in the hopes of trying to remove information may have been an actual target for some of these groups. I don't think it's necessarily just script kiddies, because it kind of feels like SN Black Meta is like that Just Stop Oil movement, where their actions are so reprehensible by the normie crowd that it just doesn't make any sense. If you were trying to be an activist in something, it makes no sense, pissing off 99% of the people watching from the sidelines, right? So I really think that maybe at the end of the day, that SN Black Meta group might just be like a cover. But ultimately, what I'm saying is just complete speculation, so I don't want you to take any of it as fact. As of now, the Internet Archive is in this read-only state. So the only silver lining to all of this, the best thing to hear about this, obviously, is again the Internet Archive. Nothing actually ended up being corrupted. They actually deliberately had stopped some of those services just to make sure that the data, which is the most important part, wasn't going to be corrupted or lost, or there wasn't actually some hacker still digging into the system, causing damages behind the scenes. So really good practice by them. The best mitigation that you can do, and honestly, I really do hope that as they go down, the rest of these hacks end up being fixed. So with all of that being said, obviously the Internet Archive is still kind of in a tumultuous place, but it really seems like, hopefully, in my opinion, the worst is pretty much been passed. Now, one of the other things about the internet too, and to kind of tie it off on, is obviously there's been so many crazy hacks that have been happening. Literally a couple days ago, there was apparently something insane like 6,000 WordPress blogs. So you've probably seen a WordPress blog at some point in your life. It's very common, okay? You probably have used one. You probably have written one. Apparently, they were all hacked. 6,000 of them were hacked to push info stealer malware, okay? So literally, you could go on some of these compromised boards and literally see this error message, just one Google Chrome error message, which would freak the fuck out of anyone, right? They'd be like, oh my God, something's going wrong. Maybe I got to update, fix up these malfunctions. No, this is an actual overlay where once you follow their directions, you will inadvertently get hacked. I mean, these are serious issues that have been kind of blowing up. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the world of computer safety, and I don't make these videos to scare people, I make these videos to inform people in general, but when using the internet, you gotta be real careful, and ultimately, at the end of the day, when it comes to the Internet Archive, it's like, I really do hope they get out of this pretty much scot-free. I hope they actually end up getting everything restored to the best of their abilities, because at the end of the day, it is the only place on the internet that is storing our collective human digital history. And when it comes to, anything political related, they also store the kind of receipts that people need to prove injustices in the world. So no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what, stock of life you come from, There is nothing more important than preserving and keeping a record of human history, just so we don't end up repeating our own mistakes, and just so we end up having something to correct the records, right, going in forward. I know that I'm kind of getting a bit, extrapolate with this whole ending, but it is, I think it should drill into your heads how important this stuff really kind of is, right? And as of now, the only record of digital human history is still currently in a rough spot right now. And it doesn't help the fact that they just keep getting fucking hacked. So hopefully they get their stuff together. Hopefully they get their shit fixed up, because I really do worry about losing a piece of human history out of it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.